Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dental Dummies Podcast. I am your co-host, Dr. Minh Nguyen. Joe, go ahead.
Yay! Applause insert here. And I'm your other. Am I really a co-host, or is it really your thing? And I'm just like here. I'm like the side candy / other host, I guess. Joe Dimarco, president of CFS Dental Division. Use us, or maybe you'll die. Unrelated, of course. We wouldn't kill anybody, right, men?
Never. This is great.
Yeah,
Thanks, Joe.
that would have got cut out of the live oak one real fast.
Probably.
We want to introduce one of our biggest partners, especially our biggest in the startup space. Already building up his already ginormous ego. Steven Trutter with Ideal Practices. Yay!
Hey, man. Hey, Joe. Great to be here. Great to support startups, and we have a good agenda for this afternoon. So I am honored to be here and be in your guys' presence this afternoon.
Oh man, no! Don't build up Min's ego. Min actually is scary. You gotta watch. He's a doctor, But no, we're excited. Like, little background on our relationship with Trutter and his company. We've been working with Ideal Practices for years now. They do the majority of our startup business, and they're a huge help with consulting. Not only on, Min's going to be a little biased here. They are the consultants for Dr. Minh Nguyen, and the majority of our specialty clients that come to us and try to open a practice. They've been the leader in it for years. They've been good friends of mine for years, and they really do have the connections and network. And that's why we kind of, lack of better words, bullied Steven to be on here, because we want our clients to realize it is safe to do a startup. There are things to be looking at if you want to. It is not for everyone, but for the people it is for, we want them to know the do's and don'ts, the ifs and whats, and kind of where we should be. And I'll let kind of I know we have a mini agenda here. I'll let kind of Min ask some questions and Steven answer with his wonderful expertise in the space. I'm excited.
Cool.
Excited.
I'll try to remain as objective as possible. So, full disclosure, I am a client of CFS Dental Vision and Ideal Practices. So I am still going through the whole process of the demographic startup build out, the purpose. And hopefully we are opening next month, no later than July, hopefully. I just got the latest construction schedule. I got a great team behind it. Again, I'll try to remain as unbiased as possible. But all the times
I really need my ortho work. I've been waiting. I've actually been waiting for Min. I'm going to be his first patient. And my teeth are grinding down. I'm going to have no teeth by the time I get to them. I literally bought a night guard to hold out for you, Min.
Okay.
I hope you know that. You cost me, I don't know, $400. Already getting 1 star.
Cool.
Waiting for you to open.
Cool. That'll take care of the first month of rent. There you go. I need your help. Anyways.
Yeah, I get the friend discount, right? It's only 20 grand.
Oh, yeah, just only. Yeah, there you go. I think that's the normal fee for that zip code. It's good. I just tell you the zip code. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But anyways, very excited to have our guest, Steven Trutter, president of Ideal Practices, and I think the best in the business. And you're not going to get a more thorough company for your dental specific startup, even if you are a specialist, which is me. But no, take it away, Steven. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in the company.
Well, thanks, Min and Joe. I get the pleasure to help lead and one of the greatest teams, and thank you for the accolades. I truly believe, Ideal Practices, we have one of the most thorough teams, but also one of the most passionate teams when it comes to startups. I've never met a better group of individuals and team members that are truly passionate about the success of each one of our clients, that truly cares about the success that they have, and are just passionate about getting startups and getting associate dentists to be able to make that transition from associate dentist or specialist. Obviously, I'm kind of going to lump everybody in that term, from associate to private practice owner. And so we've been doing this for a number of years, and every time it's like we create just awesome stories, but we don't just create them by ourselves. Obviously, it takes a ton of collaboration. Minh, you're a part of that collaboration. It's like it's not a program where it's like a coin goes in the slot of ideal practices, and 12 months later, boop, out pops a practice. It is a deep collaboration. So I don't want to mince words and say, hey, we just do it and we show up with the keys 12 months from now. It takes a deep collaboration, but that's all we do. We do startups, and we want to help. We want to help associate dentists realize their potential in becoming private practice owners. What a step-by-step process that they can follow in order to get open successfully, not just open a practice, but truly one that they're proud of, that they're confident, and to be able to make a connection in their community. So big thing there.
Awesome. All right. Well, going forward, like in general, like there's lots of startup consultants out there, and just consultants in general that will have their own way of doing things. How does ideal practices separate themselves in terms of like how they approach it, like any particular philosophy and whatnot that you guys take on?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I think there are a lot of consultants out there, so I'm not going to, I'm not a practice management consultant, neither is anybody on my team. And I make that distinction because I think there's a lot of practice management consultants that can be focused on helping fix things in a practice that are broken after years. And that's not our philosophy. We want to prevent those. So I always say to clients, I say to the industry, we're really good at preventing problems from happening, but we're not here to fix something that's like, you've been open for 4 or 5 years and it's like, hey, fix my thing. There may be things that are not fixable. Like you may have chosen the wrong location or the wrong demographics, the wrong zip code. You don't even have all these different elements, the wrong team, the wrong systems. That's really hard to fix. So we want to be able to help prevent those problems from happening by having a platform and having a foundation to build upon. And one of the big philosophical things that we have is we live by this element of what we call the 3 Ps, which is practice, profits, and purpose. And people have heard me speak on stage about this 3P philosophy, but it really governs everything that we do. Those 3 Ps in terms of practice and what we subscribe to is like having the physical elements, having the right funding, the right demographics, the right real estate, negotiating with confidence in those elements, even the right floor plan, the right physical space. And nobody needs, I'll just say this, like nobody needs a consultant to open a practice. You can just get 4 walls and a roof and some chairs and say, I have a practice. But we need to have the right elements of that first P when it comes to practice. The second element is what we refer to as the profits. If you're going to open up a practice, like you need to be profitable. Now, I'm not trying to push and say you need to have the most profitable practice, but without profits, you literally just need to have a hobby. And so we're talking about the right business systems, the right team, the right leadership elements, the right core elements in terms of having a business that can actually launch. And the third thing is something that, Minh, you're working on in some of your practices they get to is just kind of like, if you can imagine like these stair steps, it's like practice, profits, and then purpose. Purpose is about what is this for? And I think if we can help other associate dentists understand the connections that they have to the community, to be able to have, maybe it's something they want to support in their community by a give, and it's something we talk about, or maybe if it's something they want to be able to have, like, what is the purpose of this practice? It can't just be like, hey, I just want to make more money. Okay, but like a true purpose within their practice. And then what they're doing is they're looking towards a long range. And we were talking offline about like reverse engineering. What is the long range goal? And like then reverse engineering that process back to elements of like, what are the kind of patients you want to have? Who do you want to connect to within the community? Having something that's a bigger purpose connects the practice to the community, to values, not just dentistry and discounts. If we can get there, then you separate yourselves amongst other dental providers who are just trying to create some sort of discount program within the community. It's a different philosophy.
Very good. Cool. What do you think, Joe? What are your 3 Ps of CFS?
First of all, I wouldn't make an acronym that could be, associated with a potential drug out in the streets. But PPP, PCP, they sound too similar for me. So CFS, we try to keep it very generic over here. We don't want any doctors getting confused. But I really do. I feel like having these systems and making sure that you have to think about what's going to make you profitable, what's going to actually help you, where you should be. I think the big thing that I've seen successfully with Ideal, and this is, I don't know if this is your biggest value or not, but is how much time they spend looking at where you're actually supposed to open. Because so many people think, oh, I'm just going to open in this town.
Yeah.
I know a marketing guy, I'm local, whatever. And they just think they know how it works. There's so many things that go into actually finding out where you're going to plant your practice in the ground. Because once you're in there, it is like a tree. You cannot just move a tree. Trust me, I tried in my yard. It doesn't work. I hurt myself. I went to the chiropractor and I just left it there. But where you root your practice is so important. And if you don't have a system to actually make it profitable, these people, they don't just become profitable because they're good at their job. That's great. Everybody can be good at their job.
Yep.
It's about the location, the timing, and the place. It's the same thing as investing in the market. You could have bought, Disney. You bought it at the wrong time. You would have made 2% because all this stuff that's happening now. So when you're putting your practice somewhere, groups that follow these very strict guidelines, they're loose, but they're strict at the same time. I see the same kind of process for every single group that goes through you, Steve, and every single person's a different specialty. I pride my company on working with a lot of dental specialists. So not even just that you are an orthodontist, so to say, specialist, but a general dentist who just does cosmetic, who just does implants, who just does a surgery center. That is where Ideal Practice is key, because you're doing a niche thing, which means there's a niche group of people you're going after, which means you need to be in a certain area.
Yeah.
And
there's a system to it.
And you guys spend the most time and diligence doing that. And I think that's really and I want you to expand more on it, but that's where the real value is. Somebody who understands that. We understand that on the insurance side, the financial side, but someone who understands what type of reps you need for different areas, what types of systems you need for different specialties. It really is important. And you're the only group I've seen do that successfully with 6 different types of specialists.
There's a system that's in there, but it's rooted in customization. So if I would put up a sign here, it would be this sign. If anyone could read this, it's results are equal to vision plus implementation. I've got great results. Minh, you can get great results, but if your patients don't follow the philosophy, or if they don't take care of what they need to do, people aren't going to get straight teeth. They're not going to get the smile they want. Same thing in our world. In order for Minh or any other client to get open successfully, it's I get great results. I can get you there, but I need to understand what are you trying to tackle? What is your vision? What kinds of patients you want to have? What is the area it's going to line for that patient base? What are the opportunities that exist there? And then you got to be able to implement a strategy well. I got a great strategy, but if it's not implemented well, the results are going to vary. But we also need to understand, what are you trying to accomplish? I've got a 13-stage process, but everything is customized to different specialty, different area of the country, different dentist, different provider, different area, different kinds of patients. All of it's different, but it's a system that works. But it has to have great collaboration, along with understanding what you actually desire in private practice ownership. If you can't describe that, it's really hard. If you're going to go on vacation, and if you go to a travel agent, it's going to be really hard for the travel agent to book you a vacation if you can't tell them where you want to go. Tell me a great place to go. They're going to be like, cool, where do you want to go? I don't know. Tell me the best vacation. Where? What continent? What state? What country? It's impossible. So without direction, or without a destination, you tell us the destination, we can get you there.
No, that was great. I think one of the most, about 2 years now in this process, when I started learning about the vision and listening to all the podcasts with in interviews with you and Jamie Amos.
Yeah.
Every aspect about my life. It's like, okay, what do you want first in your vision? And those were things I was actually working on in residency, just jotting down random ideas. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just randomly thought of ideas. And I just write it on like the note app. And it was this giant list of stuff. So it was slowly building up this vision. And when people ask me advice and stuff, and it's like, I just tell people, you have to be very specific. And the more you work on it, and it takes time to do it, but the more specific you are, every little thing, it does make everything so much easier on the back end, because then you know where you're going to travel to. And, do you want a more relaxing vacation? Do you want a more adventurous vacation? Who are you going to go with? Are you going with kids? Are you going without kids? It's two very different kinds of vacations.
That's right.
So I think that's great. That was excellent.
And people call me all the time for startups. And how I determine if they should go to you or not is very simple. If they're like, I ran demographics, I think I'm good. I'm just gonna open here, and I my budget's $200,000. Well, I can't send them to a custom place. You're winging it. You basically told me you're winging it. Like, you're not gonna listen anyway. But the person who calls and is like,
describe my situation, Joe. How about that? What made you? Because when I came to you with my problems as a resident, what made you right away?
You came to me and you said, I'm going to buy this big office, $3 million, and I'm going to buy half, and it's going to be big. And I said that was okay, and that was like good. And you were mad because it wasn't big. And I said, well, if you want big and you want control, you need your own practice. And you listened. The problem is a lot of people, they just want to open. They want to do it fast. They want to do it now. And you can do that. There's other consultants that will do that. What Trutter, what his team is going to do is you are building your legacy. You're building your brand. You're building, whether you're a specialist or not, you're building a specialty business. And you don't hire a specialist if you're not building a specialty business. If you're just going to do bread and butter GP work, and you're just going to take anything that comes in the wind, you don't need ideal practices. You don't. That's not what they're for. Ideal practices is very niche. Yeah. In my opinion, you're very niche. It's a niche group of people. I talk to maybe 400 people a year that want to do startups. I think 40 to 60 end up using you guys because it's a certain group of people. It's the people that think like men. I have a vision. I don't know how to get there. I did some legwork. But like, I think I want to be here. And what's great is people run demographics. You'll be like, we're doing it again. And they're like, why? And it's just like a dentist with x-rays. I always explain that when they come to me for insurance. Why do you want to look at all my stuff? Well, I'm not going to assume that anything you did was smart, that anybody you talked to was smart, because that's not how that works. If I went to you with some other dentist x-rays, you're still probably going to do x-rays. You're still going to do your own vision, because I can't come to you and say, oh, my tooth hurts, fix it. I can't come in and say, do my ortho. Somebody said use an orthodontist. Man's going to look at it and see if I actually need an orthodontist, because that's literally how any treatment plan works. If you treat a startup like a treatment plan, they always go back to the roots. He follows his 13 steps, but it's tweaked based on what category you're in. There's different types of dental categories. There's different competitive states. I've seen you open practices in the middle of freaking Philadelphia. Well, it's way harder to open in the middle of Philadelphia than to open in South Jersey where I'm at. And there's like 10 dentists. It's a different game. It's a different game when you're in a populous area versus a non-populous, versus a wealthy area versus not so wealthy. If you're going to do special needs versus if you're going to go after adults or kids. And that's where I think you guys are such a big player, is like an orthodontist has all these different needs. They're looking for a certain market. Min is looking for a certain type of patient. And if he tells you that, you can kind of do the rest. But if he just says, oh, I just want to do ortho, I don't know. What are you going to do with that? You can't do anything with that. If he's just like, I don't know what insurances I want. I don't know if I'm going to do Medicaid or not. I don't. You have to know what you like to do. The only reason he did it out of residency is Min is such a pain in the ass, particular person, that he actually had 20% of it done in residency. How many residents do I send you, Steve? Like maybe 5 a year. And they're a pain in the ass. They already have their plan. And like, they're that anal. It works. But most of the time, you need to know what you like. You go and you work a couple of jobs. Your normal market's what? 3 to 5 years out? Isn't that normally when they know?
Yeah, I think residents are a little bit different because they're already dentists, before as they go through residency. And so it brings up a good point. People always ask, what's the best kind of client? And I would say, well, I think about we probably have like two kinds of clients. There are the clients that I would say they're like men who are like, I know what I want to have. How do I get there faster on a path to that successful level where I want to be? I think the other kind are like, I don't want to start up. I'm a little bit apprehensive, but I know what I want to build. I want to avoid mistakes, of getting open, and I'm afraid about making mistakes along the way. So I'd say those are like the two kinds of clients, that are like, I know what I want to have. I want to get there faster. And I know what I want to have, but I want to avoid all kinds of pitfalls. Everybody wants to avoid pitfalls, but are ones that are like, man, I'm apprehensive about making a mistake. Walk me through that. But they're all like different in terms of what they want to have too. So I always just say, hey, if you want to have $1 million practice in 12 months, cool, I have that formula. If you never want to be there, that's cool too, because some people don't want to have that kind of practice. Some people, like tons of our clients, are just like, I want to build something that I want to serve these kinds of patients. I want to serve this kind of, I want to have this kind of philosophy. Maybe they don't have a volume of what they want to have, or they don't want to have like a huge practice. They just want to have something like they can have, maybe one of their children takes over or something later in life, but they're just like proud because they don't want to work for somebody else. They just don't want to work for a DSO. They just don't want to work for or they just don't like the philosophy of like what patient care is happening in the practice they're working at, or how people are treated on the team. They just want to say, I want to build something the way that I want. So that's why I don't press upon, or I don't sell a philosophy of like income goals unless someone says, hey, can I build this? Cool, I can get you there. You want to do $1 million in 12 months? Cool. It hurts. I can show you how to get there. But some people are like, I have no goal of ever being there. That's fine too. It's all about customization. What do you want?
Oh yeah. And we have people that want to work 2 days a week. You don't have to be a baller to be an owner. You have to do what you have your own. Everybody has their own schedule. Everybody has their own goals. Sure. Do 30% of the people want to be millionaires? Sure. But not everybody. And it's not always what, like, the vision might be work-life balance. And that's what I feel like most of the people are. They're like, I want work-life balance. I want control.
That's right.
That's
freedom and
that's
control.
where
Freedom and control.
It's cool. It's good stuff, guys. So we touched up a lot on profits, a little bit of demographics and location. So lots of like moving parts when it comes to a startup practice. And obviously, not every startup in the world has worked with ideal practices. There are thousands every day that open without ideal. And then there's a good chunk of us, like myself, that do open up with you guys.
Yeah.
And Stephen, you've been in the business of dentistry in general for years now, even probably long before ideal practices has been around.
Yep.
What are some mistakes or just general advice of things to keep in mind when people are going through this process?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things are, I think one of the biggest things that's out there is you've heard this term, and a lot of people have heard this. I talk about this, and we've talked about on podcasts, is the peanut gallery. I think avoiding advice that comes from well-intentioned people that has never been proven. I think it's nothing against like Facebook groups or people, and you and I and Joe, we were riffing before. It's like, it's the people, even it's self-inflicted sometimes. It's like someone asking a question like, hey guys, I have building A and building B, which one should I go to? Or building or office or practice A and practice B, which one should I buy? With a post that's 3 lines deep. And it's like, there's people that are going to be giving advice on that, but it's based upon their own experience that isn't relevant to you. So for those that are out there, like, it's not like it's bad advice. It's just, it doesn't have great direction if you don't know the context, and people can't give you an answer on that. So I think it's avoiding somebody that says, go to this kind of building, or you should have this kind of demographical number or numeric value, or this is what I did 10 years ago, or not even knowing if that advice is even dentally related or if it's been proven. So I think it's avoiding yourself of asking questions that can avoid things. And those big topics are, you should always own real estate, or you should never lease. Okay. Or you should have this demographical number, or, this is what you should purchase and you should aim for this. There's all kinds of these topics that are out there, or even practice management advice that could be well-intentioned, but a startup needs a different practice management philosophy and system than the practice that's been established for 5 or 10 years. So I think it's avoiding, or just looking at that advice and saying, has this been proven? And so advice that we give all of our clients is, if it hasn't been proven 100 times in 100 different startups, it might not be advice that's applicable to you.
Well, you can't say always anything, right? Like, I can't say always do repay and student loans. You can't say always buy your property. Sometimes the properties are absolute garbage. Sometimes there's a great location when you're growing, and then you hit another milestone, and it's better to move down the street.
That's right.
Not everybody has $1 million to do a startup.
Yeah.
So like, it's important to know that like everybody's situation works because their situation had cards X, Y, and Z on the table.
Yeah.
You may not have the same cards on your table that the guy on Reddit who claims opened his practice 15 years ago did. He may not have had student loans. His dad might have owned that building.
Yeah.
The lease may have sucked because the landlord was bad and they didn't have the right team to check the lease.
That's right.
Steve has people buy buildings, lease them, do all sorts of weird stuff. I don't think I've ever seen anything that's like where it's normal. Everything's different.
I think you just need to ask where that advice comes from. I think that's one of the big mistakes I've seen, happen, is like chasing advice that's not proven or not applicable to you. I think another one is, when it comes to startups, especially, is not having a true. I think the other second big mistake is not having a true marketing strategy. You've got to have a robust marketing strategy and a robust marketing budget in order to do that. I think a lot of people are looking for, like in the Matrix, it's like, do I take the red pill or the blue pill? And I think in startups, there's a lot of people that ask the question of like, is it the red pill for marketing or the blue pill for marketing? Which one of those pills is going to give me the most patience? It might be both. You may have to take both. In other words, there's a strategy and there's tactics. Tactics are like, what's the one thing that everybody does for marketing? It works. I don't have that answer. I've been doing this for 18 years. There isn't one answer. You need to, because it depends on the kinds of patients in the market and what everybody else is doing in terms of marketing, to understand what kind of spend you need to have in marketing. So it's not, you got to prioritize that. A lot of people, and this happens a lot, like we've probably seen this, and it scares me to no end when I see startups on some of these groups, or just asking questions like, hey guys, I'm opening up in like the next 30 days. What should I be doing for marketing? What? That's a conversation 6 to 8 months prior to that you need to be focusing on developing a marketing strategy, not getting to the last 30 days going, okay, what should I be doing? I have a website. Should I do postcards? Don't know. So I think it's not having true marketing strategy.
Oh God, I just cringed a little bit right there.
It happens. It happens a lot. I'm getting into the
common.
end. And I think, I'm trying to think, in terms of like other mistakes, I think it's also, we talked about on the building side of things, but I think that can even kind of dovetail into like not being properly funded, because that, not properly funded means, or I think the funding thing is more of, when it comes to a startup, it's risky. And to everybody that's out there that has student loans, Joe, how many people have student loans? 95% of them will have student loans.
All of our clients.
You're listening, all of you have student loans of some, or you've had. Okay, so you have 350, you got 400,000 in student loans. Okay, I know you're listening right now today. It's okay, as long as they're structured right. Talk to Joe about what that structure needs to be. However, you're going to borrow more for a startup. You're going to borrow 600, 700,000. Yes, you will. If you think you're going to get a practice open for 200,000, it's not going to happen. And you can't, so you can talk about like two philosophies of how do I open in terms of a savings philosophy, or how do I open for a growth philosophy? No one, Elon Musk and everybody else that's ever opened up businesses has focused on growth strategies to become a profitable, successful business owner. You're opening a dental practice, by the way, it's a business. Or you can focus on savings. No client has ever said, I saved my way to success. So if you want to build a cheap practice, you will be a cheap practice owner. Everyone's going to point at you and say you had the cheapest practice in town. So you focus on growth strategies. So that funding has to be able to fuel growth, not just save yourself to success.
Oh, that was good stuff. For financial advice for like the funding side, very important. You can't do anything without money. We've had 2 podcasts now with banks, and they are hands down, they control everything. And going through my process, you can't do anything unless the bank approves it.
That's right.
You can't sign a lease without them knowing what it costs. You can't buy equipment. You can't hire contractors unless they know exactly what you're budgeting and how you're allocating.
That's right.
So honestly, borrow as much money as someone is willing to allow to give to you.
Yep.
And work with Steve Burns. Shout out to you, Steve. Wherever you're at, you're awesome. He is the equipment expert. He knows the construction. He knows where, in terms of my build out, it's like I knew where to spend and where not to spend. And that goes with not just the construction, but the equipment, even the marketing, like what's worth it that fits your vision, what's not worth it. That's where you can balance it out with the whole money aspect. But you just need a lot of money and then try to stay as far under budget, but yet still create, a beautiful practice that you will be able to accomplish your vision with.
Yeah, it's not about spending the most, and that's our philosophy is like spend the most and have the most expensive startups. But you can underspend to failure by not focusing on elements. Now, I'm not saying no one's ever going to remember your practice if it has like travertine tile that you flew in from Italy. No one's ever going to remember that. But having the right technology and the elements that are in the right marketing strategy to bring patients in having that environment is important. So don't underspend yourself to like, if I can get the cheapest, leanest startup, I will be more successful than somebody that spent more. That's not right. You need to focus on growth strategies. What is that money going to do? And what are those funds going to do to help you grow a practice? And so I always say, Minh, you have working capital. And I always say it's working capital. It's not lazy capital. Make it work. Spend it to be able to grow your practice. Don't hold on to your working capital and say, I'm going to hold on this for months and months and months. I'm like, how much I can keep on. Okay, but if you get to a point you're 6 months in, you don't have enough patience. You're like, yeah, but I have my working capital. Why didn't you spend it on marketing? I don't know. Put it to work. It's working capital. So spend wisely. Don't underspend. Focus on growth, not just savings.
That's good stuff. Cool.
Anything else, Minh? What do you think?
That was pretty good.
What did we hit? How much time is this? Time where people care?
About 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're hovering around like 30 minutes now,
All right, well, we can always do more. We'll do another one. We'll do another one with Steve. That way people actually pay attention to the end, and then they'll even hear us talking about this, and they'll be like, wow, they care so much about being timely.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm going to go on a little rant about Ideal. And again, I am not paid by Ideal Practices, people.
No, just me.
I usually get like, we went through the roster with Steve just before the recording started, and there's like a good like chunk of people with my referrals and names and Joe's name attached to it. But I kind of say like the same thing over and over, and it goes back to the whole vision thing. It's like, what's your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And with Ideal Practices, again, not paid by them, but you're not hiring just Steven. You are hiring a team of people where each one is an individual specialist in their particular field, whether it's real estate, whether it's the floor plan was actually probably one of the funnest first step with John. Like that was like a 3-hour conversation alone. And floor plan, you cannot change that. When a chair is placed, you are not moving that chair. That's 6 trees you're planting in the ground. Those things are not moving without costing you a lot of money. The floor plan's a lot of fun. going through the different vendors with Steve Burns, and the different dental suppliers, going through little pieces of equipment and things that you don't even think of, and he knew like every little possible discount, that like of every little tips and trick through the book, because he used to sell this stuff.
Yeah,
he knew everything already.
The insider. He's the
insider.
insider.
Yeah. I've never. There's no way someone's. No, not to bash any other consultants, but there's no way one person can know all of this. If you are very specific about what you are, and you're trying to get like the most bang out of your buck, and you're gonna pay for it. But man, you just know you have not only good quality stuff, but like a really strong reassurance, whether you are like myself, I'm trying to grow as fast as possible to hit, whatever my goals are going to be. Or if you're also trying to avoid mistakes. So for me, I'm a little bit of both. It's like, I want to grow fast, but I literally can't afford to make mistakes along that way. And I'm kind of glad the whole purchase of the practice didn't work out for me years ago. And I knew Joe in residency, and right away, he didn't even mention any of the consulting. He goes, no, you're going to go work with Steven and Ideal Practices during my second year residency with no money. And I have student loans, by the way. I'm not independently wealthy. Joe doesn't.
We all know that.
Okay.
I think Minh tells us how poor he is at the beginning of every podcast, which probably hurts me and my client base, but whatever.
We're gonna get him open. We're gonna get him open. He's gonna make money, and then Joe, he's gonna give it to you to invest wisely.
He needs to last at least however long my ortho takes. That's all I want. After that, all bets are off, but at least finish my case.
Okay, you got it, Joe. Cool. Any closing remarks, Joe or Steven?
I just want to say thank you. I'd love to be able to not only just tell our story, but how can we help other startups and help other associates, and not even just like helping get open, but also give them the clarity and confidence of what they need in order to take a step forward. Maybe somebody's listening today like, wow, I didn't know if there's an opportunity to do it. There's a path for everybody to get there. I want everyone to be able to have clarity and confidence in order to take that leap forward and to achieve what they want to have. And I want to help others avoid big mistakes of choosing wrong decisions along that path. So clarity, confidence, and helping you all make great decisions. And I just want to say thank you for Minh and Joe to have me here to be able to share that with the entire dental community.
Yeah, no, I mean, we really like working with you. I like I said, I've been working with Steven for years. I like to say I'm very particular with partners. I mean, we don't have a lot of partners at CFS. You can see it. We only work with who we think really are the best. And I mean, sure, am I biased? But I'm biased because the numbers back him up. Like, he's good. He's good at what he does. I send him, in my opinion.
We are good. We have a great team. We do. Man, thank you.
No,
thank you, Minh, for like accolades on our team. I'm going to let them know. Like, yes. the team they're experts and they care, man. They just do. So I appreciate it.
I haven't met a single person at Ideal that I thought was in any way, shape, or form not competent in what they were doing. And it's they do what we do. And I like companies that do that, where you compartmentalize everything. You have specialists inside. It's the same thing like you would want if you're going to see a dentist. You want someone who knows what they're doing. And that's what they do. They have the stages and they have the people that know, all right, you're in this stage, this is where you need to go. And that's important. I mean, we want people to be successful. We don't want, if you're going to go and be an owner, we want you to be one of the best. That's what we want.
That's it.
But no, thank you for giving us your time, and
love it.
Hopefully we can do it again. And
absolutely. Then you're not driving. Maybe you're not driving. I don't know.
I'm not driving. I'm literally, I every other time I'm sitting in my car, and it's not on purpose. Trust me, I don't want to see all these shirts hanging in the back, and he's slightly unbuttoned.
I saw like a hanger. You got like a rack in back with all your shirts. It's like, hey, what am I wearing tomorrow? I don't know.
They're probably like, this guy lives in his Tesla.
He just wears the same thing.
Yeah, I wear the same thing. I'm all messed up. Oh wait, I could debut my tattoo. Look.
Oh my God.
I got the company tattooed on me now. When are you going to get the Ideal logo on your chest? We were talking about it the other night, right?
The bar graph.
The bar graph? Yeah, I know. So nondescript. Yeah, I think I'll do that somewhere. Yeah. I have it. I have it. I can't show it on screen here today. So.
No, but we're really excited, and we'll definitely do this again, and thanks for making the time.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. If you guys made it to the end, thank you guys very much. Be sure to click the like button below, comment on, I don't know, if you did a startup and maybe share some general advice that worked out for you. If you can preference it on like what was your situation before giving that advice, it'd be great. But we look forward to having Steven back on the show really, really soon. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.